Welcome back to Capital H listeners. David Mallon here, your co-host and Deloitte Hume Capital's head of research. On today's episode, we're joined by Allyson Dake and Chris Norman, they're leaders in our Deloitte Hume Capital practice, and Adam Schreiber from PepsiCo. Together, they're going to talk through how organizations can drive human adaptability in the face of AI-powered transformation. You'll hear about 5 new paradigms of change, from always-on adaptability and trust to hyper-personalization and the role of AI agents in reshaping how we manage change. Let's dive into the conversation. Adam and Allyson and Chris, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our latest edition of the Capital H podcast. This is Beyond Change Management, Human Adaptability in AI-Powered Transformation. My name is Allyson Dake, and I'm a partner in Deloitte's Human Capital practice. I've been with the firm for almost 20 years, where I've really spent my career driving the most complex global transformations with our clients. And I currently serve as our U.S. strategic and technology change market offering leader for that part of the business. I could not be more excited to be here with 2 of my colleagues. I'm here with Adam Schreiber, who is both a client, friend, and collaborator, and one of the brightest minds in this space. And I'm also here with Chris Norman, who's been my partner in crime for, Chris, the past 20 years? 20-ish, but who's counting?
Yeah.
And is really at the forefront of everything AI-powered change and transformation and technology. So with that, Adam, I'm going to hand it over to you for a brief introduction, and then we'll go to Chris.
Fantastic. Thank you. And it's great to be here with both of you. Adam Schreiber and I lead our transformation management, change, and communications offering at PepsiCo. And Allyson and I, as she mentioned, worked very closely together in my previous life at Johnson & Johnson. And indeed, friend, colleague, and right back at you in terms of one of the brightest minds, has helped us a lot.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. Chris Norman here, also a partner in our human capital practice. I've been with the firm, like Allyson said, for about 20 years. First in the trenches with our clients doing big global change management projects. And then for the last 10 years or so, focused on how we can bring technology to help us drive the best possible solutions for our clients. And now I'm serving as the offering innovation lead for our organization, workforce, and change practice.
And doing an amazing job at that. All right. Well, we're going to jump in. And today's session is really, as I said, about human adaptability and how we leverage change management to really drive value realization, ROI, and business outcomes. None of our listeners will find this surprising, but the pace of change is only increasing. It's only becoming more complex. And it's, quite frankly, it's staggering. You talk to our clients and just the amount of change going on in any organization, no matter what industry you are in, is truly, it's a lot, for lack of a better term.
Some would say overwhelming.
Overwhelming.
Yeah.
Some would say overwhelming. Absolutely. And so we hear from our clients daily, how do I accelerate the pace of adoption? How do I build change agility and change resilience into my organization? How do I do it better? How do I do it faster? How do I make sure that I'm realizing the full value of what I have put into my transformation or my initiative? These are questions that leaders are really grappling with every single day, both change and non-change leaders. And so these are the questions that we are tackling and that we have tackled as we've been thinking about this new shift in change, this new paradigm. And we're really excited to bring that to you today. We believe that change isn't changing, but it's fundamentally already changed, especially in light of all the AI-powered innovation that's hitting us today. There's so much. I don't know. Are you able to go, guys, like any day without talking about AI at least 25 times?
Pretty much every conversation, let's be honest.
Every conversation.
Every conversation. And so in light of that and other technological advancements, we've really thought about that in our new change paradigm that has 5 interconnected themes where change itself really fuels value and impact and ROI. Simply put, change is people-centered, right? We believe in people-centered transformation that truly looks at the workforce. It looks at the way that work is being re-architected, what are the skills that are needed, and how does the organization itself enable that? And so when it comes to change as the wrapper, human adaptability is at the forefront. And of course, when you're talking about human adaptability, it's all things value realization. It's both an art and a science, but that focus on the ROI is certainly front and center as business leaders. because at the end of the day, we're all here focused on business outcomes. Does that sound easy?
It sounds easy. It's not.
Sounds super simple. So let's go through these 5 paradigm shifts. We're going to talk about what it looks like in the real world and maybe some ideas or tactics for folks to employ in their day-to-day. How does that sound?
Love it.
Sounds
Great. All right. So the first one is change is always on. So change is no longer something that is a once and a move on. It's continuous. It's concurrent. It's embedded in how organizations operate every day. We believe that real adaptability really requires what we call micro adaptability. So you're like, all right, Allyson, like, what do you mean by that, right? Like small decentralized shifts embedded in daily work. So we think about how this might look in daily work or even in our daily lives. Do either one of you own an electric car?
Not yet. I know it's coming. Yeah.
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable, right?
Yeah.
So I just bought one. I have this electric car, but I didn't really understand the full impact on until you feel it, is every month, every couple weeks, I'm getting real-time updates on my car. I get dog mode, improved battery performance, games for my child to play in the back seat, right? All of these shifts. So the car keeps evolving after purchase, and it shows that the change is permanent and it's just really embedded in the product life cycle. Or if you're a client and you're implementing, a cloud-based ERP or technology, think about the pushes you're getting every other week, every few weeks, once a month, whatever it may be. And so that requires that adaptive learning, the always-on change. And Adam, you've done a ton of this. What does always-on change look like in your world?
I mean, you said it really well. It's concurrent, it's constant, and I think it's even more complex, even though change shouldn't be complex. Your comment about the car. We see more fighting for eyeballs, more fighting for revenue, more interdependencies across the organization than ever before, more common ground or common complex issues that we're trying to solve, yet not talking to each other. But we also, given the complexity, I sometimes think that as leaders, we make it more complex instead of just, hey, you woke up in the morning and your car had a new dog mode. Here's your user manual and doing it. We feel as though we need to barrage people and overdo it. And sometimes, keeping it simple is the best way to manage something complex, making it real.
Yeah, and building the muscle.
Yeah, I was going to play off that last point because I think as change leaders, we're used to building a program of change around one thing. And of course, now we're trying to shift and build a program of change around many things. We can do that now a lot easier because of technology, and we'll talk more about that later. But in addition to building those change programs, it's about building that change muscle. So you don't need as much programming. If you can both control the pace of change and the level of change and give people the capability to manage that change, then you don't have to train them or communicate to them or convince them with as much kind of rigor as we've had to do in the past. So
it's embedded.
Yeah, exactly.
You almost don't have to worry about change fatigue anymore because people are already fatigued. So you're just managing through the norm.
You're just managing. It becomes the norm. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a huge piece of what our clients day in and day out. I've got 10 to 20 different initiatives that are hitting key stakeholders or employees. They're exhausted. What do we do?
Exactly. Just roll up your sleeves.
That's the question.
We go again.
Here we go. This is life.
Be resilient.
Be resilient. There it is. All right. The next in our paradigm shift is change is trust. So we really see that trust is the new leadership currency. Without it, we believe that change collapses into compliance. But with it, people will lean in and commit. So when we think about change and trust, they're deeply connected because when people face uncertainty, trust really becomes the anchor that makes change possible. So like we think about in our day-to-day, I mean, think about AI, rolling out AI and the adoption of AI. And, there have been many studies done, many of them here at Deloitte with our very own Ashley Reichheld. And the correlation is quite compelling when you're thinking about trust and adoption of AI, for example. And, we need leaders who are really lifting up the curtain to show people and to be transparent that this is going to help make your job more efficient. This is going to help improve your experience, not necessarily take it away. And so that's the world we are living in today. I don't know if Adam, what you're seeing at PepsiCo in your current role.
Yeah, I mean, I think leader as a word is oftentimes misconstrued because leader doesn't necessarily mean title. Anybody can lead through a change. This is really where you find the next generation of leaders in your organization, people who can manage their peers. We see a lot at my time at J&J and my time at PepsiCo, we see a lot the emphasis on people leaders, not executive leaders, but people leaders, right? The data shows that large, big messages can come from executive leadership, but to make it real and to make it stick and saturate with employees, those people managers, the middle of the organization, kind of the bell of the organization, they make it real for their peers and they make them understand the what's in it for me, the why, and they ease the tension.
I think this is such a critical topic. And the thing to me about trust is that there's a lot of layers to it, right? We've got a pretty compelling framework that we call the 4 factors of trust that looks at humanity, transparency, capability, and reliability, which are all like really different angles. That helped me really appreciate the complexity here. And I think the takeaway for change leaders and business leaders that are trying to drive change is to take the time to be thoughtful about what's going to drive trust for folks, right? Because it's not going to be the same thing for every program. I think the other piece is change leaders really need to think both about how to equip other leaders and how to be role models themselves.
And Allyson, you mentioned the art and the science before, right? There's scientific leaders and there's artful leaders. And the art of change management is that leadership component. It's how do I ease people through the process? And I think this is where you really start to see budding leaders really shine in times of complex change.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Totally.
Building that trust. And sometimes, trust, it seems like such a squishy topic.
It's not easy to earn.
It's not easy to earn, but it's not squishy either. The data proves that. I mean, I feel like we need to get Ashley in here. But when employees trust their employers or their leaders, they're 8 times more motivated. They're close to 2.5 times more likely to endorse the organization, and they're 50% less likely to leave. That's compelling.
It's a pretty good stat.
It's worth spending some time on.
Yes, it's worth spending some time on. Exactly. All right. Our next change paradigm shift is change is personal. We believe change is deeply personal. Traditional change management, we all go back, way back, right? It treated everyone the same. It was a very one-size-fits-all blanket approach. But today, the most successful organizations realize that change must be hyper-personalized. And that's our key theme today, hyper-personalization, really tailored to the individuals, not just groups. And so, you think about it, I mentioned earlier, if you think in any organization, the number of initiatives or transformations that might be hitting an employee, our data suggests, at minimum it's 10. And, in a recent conversation that I had, it's like up to 20. That's a lot. And Adam, we shared a common colleague who wore a bit of a marketing hat that I thought was very insightful, but it's keep the stakeholder at the center, almost as the customer. You've got to understand what they're feeling, what they're experiencing, and how to make this more personalized and relevant to their day-to-day roles. And so we fundamentally believe to accelerate change, to accelerate adoption and ROI, you've got to drive that value. You've got to meet them where they are. You've got to really develop these persona-driven approaches. And so when you think about what does that look like in real life, I mean, Adam, we've done this together, right?
Yep.
Role-based communications or engagement, adaptive learning techniques, driving personalized insights from data to really understand where an individual might be struggling. And the way we like to think about this as well is you're not moving an organization, you're moving people, right? You're moving a collection of individuals to change the behaviors to get the outcome that you want. How does that resonate with you, Chris and Adam?
Well, I mean, this is a space where I am most bullish and excited about how technology is going to enable us to really be successful. So, like you said, we've been doing persona-driven change for a long time, but the truth is it was hard and it was time-intensive and therefore it was expensive. So, if you need to create unique narratives and messaging and unique communications and training to drive through different channels, you start to multiply each of those things by every persona. And you need teams and people to create that stuff. So obviously generative AI has helped us really accelerate that. I think agentic AI is going to take it to the next level where, we can use avatars that take on the likeness of leaders. And with the click of a button, you can change and customize the messaging for a business unit or a function or a geography or a personality type, right? I mean, the possibilities
Absolutely.
are kind of endless, and those things are not going to cost you that much more, right? Once you invest in the technology to make those things possible. So,
but the return is going to be payout in spades.
The return is going to be payout in spades, in part also because I think the key thing here is like, as employees, we have kind of customer grade expectations now, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're all constantly consuming so much information, and we expect things to be personalized to us because that's how we're receiving things through social media. If we're not getting that same experience at work, it's like another reason to tune out. And the whole point is to figure out how to get people to tune in.
Cut through the noise.
Yeah. So
and there's so much noise.
Gosh,
and the work that we've done with you and your colleagues over the last number of years, just on the persona mapping, journey mapping of employees, you're right. I mean, it's labor intensive, and I'm very bullish on what automation and AI can do to support it. It really does make it more about the micro changes versus the macro. I remember used to go and give these presentations about the commitment curve and look where this part of the organization is on the commitment curve. But you'd always have to raise your hand and say, it's important to remember that just because your organization here doesn't mean that everybody is here.
Yes.
And so bringing those to life and looking at the avatars and saying, I'm this person at this level of the organization, and this is when we believe that through our impact assessment, they will be on the journey with you, becomes that much more empowering to the leader, and the leader can meet them where they are instead of meeting them where they think they should be, right? Those mandates of like, hey, we're changing, this is what we're doing. Now they can understand that, Adam in Purchase, New York is actually here versus his colleague who is a little bit more further along.
Right.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It makes it an experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the experience, and personalization can really make it more about the experience versus something that is happening to me.
Yeah, and everybody experiences things differently. I was mentioning before about my anecdote about flying, right?
Oh,
so you get on an airplane, and I think as leaders, we implemented the change. We did what we were supposed to do. Just as an airline, you get on a plane and they pick you up, you get to the gate and you fly and you land and you reach the other end. They did what they were intended to do. But the experience that I or you face when we're there, depending on the flight and the crew, can be that much different. And understanding the data, how they can get better or how we can be better at adopting. You have a really good crew, you have a really good experience. You'll fly them again. You'll give them good feedback. If you don't, they still did what they were meant to do, just not as well.
Unless there's turbulence. I don't like turbulence.
Yeah. I don't think anybody does.
You remember the turbulence.
You remember the turbulence. Yeah.
But I remember how the flight attendants and the pilots made me feel during the turbulence.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. They calmed me down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. That's right.
Yep.
That's right. Hyper-personalization, huge key theme in what we're seeing in the market today. The next paradigm shift is change is surround sound. And what we mean by that is the best change is immersive, but it's a balance. It's not overwhelming change. So, like we just talked about, the experience, people should experience change across multiple touch points, whether it's digital or in person or a cultural engagement, in ways that are really consistent and reinforcing. And so to drive a little clarity here, what we mean is like immersion really means the experience, not exposure. And so you just don't hear the change. You need to feel it. You need to adapt to it. And one of the analogies that I love to use, and do either of you speak another language? Did you learn? I know. Yeah. I mean, myself
in
as
my
well.
dreams, I do.
I know. So in my dreams, a long time ago, I learned French. But think about learning a new language. It's not like you can go sign up for a 2-hour course and voila, you now speak French. And so to learn French, I went and I spent 3 months living in France, kind of seeing, hearing, experiencing, reading, and practicing it. Really the same definition of surround sound in order to make that happen. And so when we think about how we're driving change at organizations, I really always lean on that example of learning a new language and what that's like and what stakeholders need to experience as well.
I really like that. And the other thing this makes me think about is you could think about surround sound as being like overwhelming because it can be like if you're in an IMAX theater or something, but it's not constantly overwhelming, right? It's when it's overwhelming in a theater, it's intentionally overwhelming, right? It's
Right.
like it builds to these moments where it's trying to make you
Absolutely.
feel a certain way. So what we're saying here isn't noise. It's actually the opposite of
Yes.
noise.
Yes.
Surround sound is really intentional. It's sometimes really subtle. Like I know, like being in like a home theater, and you're like, what was that? Like what? Oh, that was behind me. Like that. Oh,
Yeah.
that was on purpose, right? So this idea that we're trying to actually cut through the noise by being intentional about how we're using omnichannel, using personalization to reach people where they are.
Yeah. With a clear thread.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love the home theater anecdote too, because there are some movies where you're like, what is that?
Yeah.
But it really proves that you can give surround sound if it's intentional. Right message, right time, right leader. Just to do every single platform and channel just does not make sense. And many leaders, as I'm sure you know and know as well, if not better than me, are, hey, we have this really monumental thing coming and I need everything. All hands on deck. I want a Viva Engage strategy. I want a town hall. I want this to be broadcast on poster boards and everything. And being really intelligent with the data and saying, this is what will be effective at this time. This is the journey. Just because we launched doesn't mean we've finished. This is our time to actually start telling the story. And let's be intentional about that roadmap and when and what we're saying.
Yeah, I love that. As I think about what our job is as leaders, business leaders and change leaders, is we need to create the environment where people say, I understand this change. I see it happening around me. I know what it means. I know what it means to my role. And I've had the ability to practice it.
I know how to be successful.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know how to be successful.
Yep.
That's right. It's about being present in the right ways, not just about being everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. So here we are. We didn't really think we were going to get through our talk without talking and diving deep into AI, right? No,
Not possible.
We would not let that happen.
No.
So our fifth paradigm shift is change is powered by AI. And I know it's like we joke, but it's true. None of us can get through a day without talking about AI at least 25 times. But when we think about it in the lens of change management, it's really a tremendous opportunity to rethink a bit around the way work gets done and how ROI is driven. And we can think about it almost as a collaborator. And so I know, Chris, we recently launched a very innovative and exciting product to market that you're going to talk a little bit more about, as well as our future plans. So I'm going to turn it over to you for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think when I reflect on our journey embedding AI into our kind of change, the way we do our work, we've been at it for years, right? We've started with our tool sets using kind of logic and rules-based AI to help us manage huge data sets. Then when Gen AI started to become more readily available, we created a lot of tools that have helped us significantly accelerate how quickly we can create content and how we can generate insights and data analysis that helps us make really good decisions. So essentially, we've moved AI in to really do the heavy lifting, and we've seen really awesome results. I'll take our training development practice, for instance. We're seeing at least 30% hours reduction for the human effort we have to put in to create the same training, it's an amazing, that's savings. That's savings for everyone, right?
Amazing.
Savings for our clients, savings for us as a firm. And we're able to reposition those folks to do more
value add.
More value-added things. Yeah. And so the flip side to the AI doing the heavy lifting is that humans are able to do those things that humans are really good at, right? So when we think about what are the human capabilities that are going to persist as we push a lot of work to agents and more to AI, things like curiosity, things like emotional intelligence, things like empathy and teaming. And we think that those capabilities are going to be really important in doing things like shaping stakeholder dynamics, managing politics, driving cultural change, building trust like we talked about before. So
decision-making.
Huge on decision-making,
yes.
Applying judgment.
Yes.
I'm really excited as we look at the way we've done change. For years, we've been accelerating it by driving automations into the steps that we traditionally take. And now with agents, we're actually able to completely rethink how we do it. We focus first on the business outcome, so like the very end of the value chain, and we can go backwards and say, how do we get there? And how we're going to get there isn't going to be by automating every step that we've taken over the last 20 years. There's going to be new things that we can do totally differently. There's going to be things we don't have to do at all. My favorite example is, I'm hoping, change impacts, right? It's been a critical exercise.
Why I love them.
I know, right? That's why we're all in this profession, right? No, I mean, it's been an incredibly time-intensive activity, but that's been essential. It's been critical to really understand and focus on the things that matter. If we can use AI to do that, then we can focus on delivering the right messages and working with the right leaders to drive trust, things that we're better suited to do, right? So with all that said, we're basically building an entire agentic ecosystem to drive change with our clients, for our clients. And the first agent we're excited to recently announce is what we're calling our adoption agent. The thing I'm most excited about this is it actually fills a need, like I was saying before, it fills a need that we actually haven't really been able to fill before, which is post go live or kind of post change. How do you measure it? How do you manage it in a meaningful way? Because if you're listening to this podcast because you've been in the world of change management, you know there's way more change to be managed than there are people to manage it. So consequently, people often after go live, they turn their attention to the next thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's where the real work starts.
Yep.
Yes.
And we just, we haven't had the infrastructure or the funding or any of those things to be able to really focus on that. This is, a relatively low-cost way to actually empower leaders to see data, understand where there are adoption gaps, real time, understand how those adoption gaps are impacting ROI. And the agentic piece of this, it's not just feeding data, it's providing suggestions to actually take action. Like, maybe this dip in adoption was because there's something wrong with the QRG. People are reading it and it's not giving them the right instructions. We got to update the QRG. Or maybe it's a leadership alignment level issue at a mid-level management, and we need to kind of bring our managers together and see what they're thinking and if they're not really supportive. There's so many things you can do to drive adoption, and this agent will suggest those things, and when it can, it will take action on those things.
It's a proactive agent.
Exactly.
Love it.
The other thing I'll add about this that I'm really excited about is, even though it feels like we've been talking about agents for ages, we haven't, right? Things are just going back to...
We weren't talking about this a year ago.
No, accelerated,
I mean, in the spirit of things moving so quickly. And so rather than building a hardened product that we're going to try to sell, we want to really custom build and co-create with our clients. But we're all in experimentation mode right now. And so the approach here is going to be able to sit down with our clients and figure out how's this going to work best for you. And we're going to learn a lot together in that. So just really excited to get this out into the market and see where it takes us.
Well, you heard it here first. The agents are coming.
Yeah, the agents are here.
They are here. Yes, they are here. Well, wonderful. Chris, Adam, thank you so much for being here with us today. A lot of fun, as usual. And hopefully our listeners took some insightful nuggets away from this as we're talking about the future of change, human adaptability, and really how you think about driving ROI and value for your business. Be sure to catch us next time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That will do for today, listeners. Thank you so much for joining us on Capital H. And a big thank you to Allyson, Chris, and Adam as well for sharing their insights on the future of change management and adaptability in an AI-driven world. Wherever you find us, please do like and subscribe and reach out to us on social media with your thoughts and feedback. We, of course, would always love to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious. This podcast is produced by Deloitte. The views and opinions expressed by podcast speakers and guests are solely their own and do not reflect the opinions of Deloitte. This podcast provides general information only and is not intended to constitute advice or services of any kind. For additional information about Deloitte, please go to deloitte.com/about.